Welcome, everyone. This is the Park and Rec meeting for, Wednesday, May 8th. Started at 6:30 p.m. Meeting is being held hybrid. Working from myself to my right, introduce our board, myself, Jeannie Reed.
David Data Laurie. Sorry, Karen.
No,
Rick Harriman.
okay, and Mike.
Mike Shield.
You. Okay, first up for our agenda is public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment or in the virtual waiting room? Okay. Moving on, we can go to our next item on the agenda is approved bills and minutes. Do we have any?
So we don't have bills, we
No.
have some minutes.
Oh, yes. Was there anything, did everybody review the minutes? Was there anything in there that needed correction or added or anything like that?
I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I thought it looked good.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Dave D. Delory, motion to accept the minutes from April 10th of 2024. Rick Harriman, second the motion. We will vote myself, Jeannie Reed, aye.
David Data Laurie, aye.
Rick Harriman, aye.
Thank you.
Mike Shield, aye.
Okay, unanimous vote to approve the meetings from April 10th, Park and Rec minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and then the next line item we have up is Wally Park. And then we will start with any updates for Wally Park first. And then we will go to hi, John. Does he need me in general?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agenda?
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, Wally Park, so we will start with any updates.
A couple softball things. One, the concrete is still on the field.
Yes,
Dirt came in yesterday
Okay,
and it should be taken care of next Wednesday.
okay,
like
So-
another week.
okay. I will express that back to
Yeah.
the league. That's number one. Number two, we had a little bit of someone reported to me, we had a little bit of a conflict between the Titans and just someone looking to use the softball field to practice with her daughter. And the Titans, a couple of them had gone over and were using the softball field as a practice field. And the way they walked over and kicked the mother and the daughter off the field, they were using it to practice softball. And so she just came to me and said, "Hey, what's going on? They could be using the baseball field." I said, "Well, I gotta check, because if they rented the field for practice, then they get it, right?" So we have to arm them with that statement. They can't just walk in and kick people off unless they rented it. And then that's
They rent Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so I'm not sure like
Okay.
what day of the week that was.
and I could let her know, right? So let everyone know, right?
I can email
Monday.
you a schedule.
Okay, yeah. if you-
Thank you.
It wasn't a huge complaint, but I just want to get in front of it, because I just don't want there to be conflict between them and just regular users of the park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other updates?
It looks like a couple things. It looks like some of the gates were adjusted, which is great. One of them was not, it doesn't have a latch, so it kind of swings freely. So that's a little bit of a safety hazard in that, if a little kid walks by there and it swings with the wind or a ball hits it or something, you know, the chance of that happening, not likely too much. And then we had asked for the backstop and the fencing it peels up after time, to have it tied down with, like some of those metal straps or whatever, was never done, right? So it needs to be looked at. And
Backstop
completed.
and fencing?
Mhm.
Okay. So it's like coming up?
Yes, most of them do unless they're tied down.
It happens after
Yeah,
time.
they curl up.
Kinda
They just,
curl,
they just
yeah.
need to be tightened down.
And the gate's also on the softball, right?
There's one gate that doesn't have a latch.
First base, third base,
First base, the one toward the outfield.
okay.
I think that's it for
I'll have the guys look at it.
softball. I saw the Titans using the field on Sunday. It looked like it was great. It looked like they were all having a great time
Yeah.
over there.
Good.
All right. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have Robert Stevenson, hi,
Yes, sir.
summer soccer,
Yes, ma'am.
come on up,
Sure.
or stay there and just make
That's
sure you
okay.
identify yourself. Right. Thank you.
So, I just wanted to come tonight, just to revisit the agreement that we all made back in the fall of 2021. We all had a big meeting up in the land use room discussing summer soccer. And we all agreed at that point of a 3-year rotational sort of breakdown, between the high school varsity field, Foisey Field, and Wally Park. And we all agreed at that point that we were not gonna charge the kids for the field, that the team would be responsible for the purchasing of the paint. We just needed the field done the first time, obviously to make sure the lines were there, and then the team would be responsible to keep that up for the summer. So that first summer of 22 was the varsity field that went. Foisey Field did their 3-year commitment last year, and this year is Wally Park.
It's our turn.
It's your turn. And then the goal was, with the whole thing, was just to get this in motion, and then that way we just keep moving, so there's no questions about where these kids can play every summer. What it looks like right now, which is unfortunately the way it's been the last couple of years, it looks like only the girls are gonna have a team. I haven't heard anything about the boys. If they do, fantastic.
Summer team, you mean?
Yeah, the summer team.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna be coaching the team this year. My daughter's gonna be a senior next year. So I'll be coaching the team this summer. I've got to put registration in. They're looking obviously for us to secure our home field. The games are only on Mondays through Friday. They are at, I believe, 6 o'clock. I can verify the time, 6 o'clock, 6:30. They don't go late where we wouldn't need any lights or anything like that. It starts the week of June the 10th. And then it goes, there's usually we usually play like 12 games, right, Rick? Isn't that what we've done? 12 games, 6
6
home,
home.
6 away,
Yeah.
and then there might be a couple games that we have in August for playoffs if we make it that far.
There could also be the situation where the league looks at the conditions of fields for all the teams and says, for example, I'll just pick up I won't say a town because I know this is recorded. A town in Massachusetts, maybe your field there's something going on with your field. Can you switch fields to
Oh, okay.
Southwick? And so it might be more than 6, just to let you guys know, but it would be likely no more than 8.
Right. Yeah, and then what if they're,
Rick, just a comment on that. If they do ask, we'll need obviously copies of insurance for those teams.
Yeah, if it comes through, the league would need to.
oh, right, if
give it
they're gonna,
that
yeah. So
PLI,
from
yeah.
our end, Mike, what we've done the last number of years is the kids we have had the team sponsored by the rec center. So we all register them through the rec center, so they have the insurance through the rec
No,
center.
I understand that. I'm saying if there were 2 teams that had to use our field for some reason.
Absolutely.
Another team look to use it, we gotta
Yes.
get their insurance.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, absolutely.
That's a
And
good
if
point.
that happens, that would be sort of, they'd be doing that
they gotta do it
outside
through
of,
the league.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll just make sure I give them
Yep.
whoever's contact number here. But yeah, so I've got to register the team here in the next week or so. I just wanted to come, make sure that everything was still good. Because obviously we haven't talked about this in the last couple of years. You guys were the third year to go. Any questions?
I think our only concern, our maintenance guys wanted help laying out the field. I mean, they're more maintenance guys for grass
So-
equipment and everything, but just getting the field itself lined out.
Well, I mean, again,
We
I
we
don't,
do have a couple of pins that are in there, but I
Okay.
mean, just all the goalie boxes, penalty boxes, everything
I think what
else.
he's saying is you might have an interest in working with our maintenance guys to make sure it's
okay,
set up.
no,
to-
that's
just to set up
fine.
Properly the first.
You know what I
So so when, that maybe I need to call Chris on this. When the Bolts or whatever use the fields in the fall, who lines it the first time? Like I thought, like at the high school, at the varsity field, the maintenance crew know how to do it and they did the first
well,
lining.
we don't
and then-
have the same maintenance
Yeah.
crew.
No, no,
year in and
agreed.
Year out, so I mean, they would be willing to do it, but they would prefer to have somebody who knows how the field is laid out
Oh, okay.
the first time.
No, no, that's fine.
think that would
Listen,
be
Chris is
Yeah, Chris,
the coach of the varsity girls team.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem reaching out to Chris and saying, hey,
No, no.
can you
that-
help
that
me
would
and we'll
be
do it. I
perfect
mean,
Instead of
Chris would
having
be
like
there
the
with
day
you to do it
before
the
and
first
having.
no,
these
no, no, no,
guys try
that's
to
fine.
Get the
Okay.
field
So
together.
basically, you're telling me we don't have anybody consistent or if, like, that's really set up where we can
I
get them
think
to
it's
do
the
it.
knowledge of of where to line for penalty kick.
Oh, okay,
The dimensions,
fine.
blah, blah, blah. So
Okay.
I think if Chris, and I know that Chris has helped in the past, I think if
Yeah.
Chris can coordinate with our maintenance guys,
That's
we
fine.
can get that first,
The first, yeah,
the
because
first
what we
lining
normally do
down.
is we'll get, and I've been liaisoning with these guys all the time anyway, as I'm on the rec center board and on. So we usually get the paint from the rec center and then we've got the little sprayers and everything, so we take care of it. But yeah, I can reach out to Chris.
Sure.
And that way I can have Chris reach out to whoever is on the maintenance side. I'm assuming he knows who it is. And then that'd be fine. If you could help me, if there are dates in June and July and the beginning of August that somebody has rented the field for soccer, let me know and I can put that as a carve out date
Okay.
on that
I know
schedule.
you state, yeah.
Yeah, no use date.
Okay,
If it's not lined, I thought Chris told me yesterday that the Bolts aren't looking to rent the field in the fall or something, so there may not be anybody looking from a soccer perspective to rent that field this
I haven't
summer.
heard from them about fall. I hope they
Okay.
do, but I haven't heard from
Don't
them
know,
yet.
but do we have anything in the summer right now? or
No.
so? Oh, okay, well then, if there are no dates, then that's great. I could just let them know. Wally Park's our home
It's
field,
open. Mhm.
let it go and we'll
Yep.
take it from there.
Yep. It's
All right.
open, wide open right now.
Yes.
Perfect. Do you guys have to vote on this or are we?
We already did-
No,
we did
'cause
2 years
we
ago.
Yeah.
talked about it, we knew that. I
Yeah,
think the biggest thing was just coordinating to make sure the field is
That's
lined
fine.
No,
properly.
yeah.
Definitely appreciate you coming and reminding us.
No, well, that was,
Yeah.
I didn't wanna just assume it was done and then go, well, wait a minute, no.
Yeah.
Well,
It
that's
did,
good.
it didn't happen. All right. If not, then I'm all set. Thank you very much.
Good,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Rob.
Mike, it's good to see you.
Hi, Rob, thank you.
All right, so moving on to buildings and grounds update.
Come on up.
Come on down.
Hello.
You're the next
How is
contestant.
everybody?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, thanks for giving me time here. My real goal is just trying to get clarifications on a lot of moving parts.
Mhm.
Fire away.
I hope you can.
Me too.
So how do I say this on a recorded message? I'm coming into this behind the gun. I know there's been maintenance,
Issues.
issues, positions, whatever you wanna call it in the past. I inherited this for the short term. And I'm just trying to make the best of it, whatever we can do. First topic that I got hit with was the famous tree that fell in the forest. And surprisingly, everybody hears it.
I was gonna say, you ready?
I don't think everybody didn't hear about, yeah, yeah.
Basically, I'm not sure if maintenance has been doing any of that over the last couple of years. Basically, when a tree falls, DPW gets called.
Yep.
Or sometimes Tyler, our rail trail guy, would take care of it during the season, but he only works May to October. So anything between basically October and April
Off season.
is I would go down with a friend of mine and clear up all the remnants that were left over, everything that was left against the apron. or,
So a little history on.
or Friends of the Rail Trail would help.
Right, so a little history on that one was came into the selectman's office, they were busy, DPW picked up the line, DPW forwards it to Randy, Randy calls me and says, hey, we got a tree down on the rail trail. I says, I'll run down, check it out, I don't know, the process or whatever. He said, well, I don't know how big it is, so at the same time I'm getting there, people are jumping over this, 6 incher or whatever, and Randy calls and we talk, he says, well, I'll have my guys come down, get rid of it, or get it off the trail. I says, great. So the next morning I go by and it's right to the tarmac. And I says, I don't know if an ambulance can get down here. Are you guys coming back? And he says, no. He says, I only open it up. And then Dave said he would clean it up. Now, here comes some confusion as to which Dave is saying that.
Yeah,
So I was under the impression, talking to my staff, that we were responsible for it, which I had a problem in that we're not trained for chainsaws and everything else. And I was confused because in the fire world, DPW would open a road and then come back and open it back up a day, 4 days, whatever later. So now I'm going, how do I get rid of this? I'm thinking it's my responsibility. Randy sends me the, I don't know, 3 years ago minutes that says that they'll open it up. Dave will take care of it. I'm assuming they're talking about Dave maintenance, not Dave.
Yes.
Dave Park and Rec. So I'm thinking I own it. I'm trying to talk to Kara. Kara, we're trying to figure out something to open it up, and then, there's just way too many chefs in the kitchen and nothing gets cooked. So backing up, I just wanna move forward, and whose responsibility is what. I'll jump in and do. I think Kara can recognize that I'll jump on whatever I have to jump on to make it work for whoever. But I think we need to develop a process. So how things come through, if it is under us, and I know you have mowers now and maintenance facility people for this season, which is great. But how do we move forward and make sure things work the way they should, and who's responsible for what? To make it a little bit more interesting. We're cleaning the facilities, the bathrooms under my supervisor for custodial work. So they're answering to us, but the trash has been something, and I think Bobby might have talked to you today about the trash.
Yeah.
So there are all those things we kind of are all in motion, and how do we make it the most efficient, and how do we make it work for the positive? Because we don't want, I know you had made some comments, and I don't even know if it was fresh in the paper, but we don't want anybody embarrassing anybody.
I just want to clarify, I wasn't beating on you, I was talking about the old maintenance department, and again, I think the article that was in the paper, he had left out
A portion,
a few things that I had said at the select board meeting.
that's fine. I just,
And
I don't want to be,
wasn't talking about you, but I'm not bringing up names when I'm talking about it. I was talking about
that's fine.
former maintenance when I was talking about that. Basically, that's why we're overseeing the park and the rail trail people this year. We took that over this
As
year.
I think you should, personally,
Yeah,
but.
but I don't think that's like a long-term solution, but I think that's working for us this year, and that's what we're gonna carry out till the end of the season, and I think we revisit it with the select board and the DPW of November.
So every department in the town works through, we call it's a software package, it's a Heroes package, we call it. And if there's something that's broken in COA, put it in Heroes, it comes to us, all of us see it, and we schedule it, maintain it, and what do we need it's been working great. Now
program.
that everyone's starting to come on board with it, I would encourage Park and Rec to utilize that through Kara if we could.
Okay,
So
How long has this been in inception?
Just.
I've only been here a month, I don't know.
Oh,
yeah, this,
oh.
okay, cause
Barely know.
I've never heard
Okay,
anything
'cause
about
I
it
was
before
like,
either.
wow.
So one of the questions that comes up, all right, somebody goes and rips a sink off the wall, which we all know has happened. How does that get reported? So we just have to make sure that it's getting reported, because the cleaning person who answers to Hillary would come that way, but your maintenance folks might learn about it, that we haven't been there yet to clean it, and might have to go to Kara. So I would encourage both to use the Heroes program, so we all see it.
Yep.
The tree situation, should it happen again, are
Which
we,
it will.
which it will, are we good with just DPW removes and somebody from
I
Park
think-
and Rec picks up, or how do we want to do that?
Yeah, but I think as far as the trees getting picked up off the apron is not like our top priority or
As
have.
long as it's open, that we
Yeah.
can get emergency vehicles down.
Yeah, it's been like that and it's been basically, when we have time, we go through and clear
I
a bunch
get-
of them at a time. It's,
I get it.
it's like an imperfect solution, but it's kind of been, it's not like the greatest solution, but
Yeah.
it's been, we only have so much money to spend on tree repairs. I mean, basically our
It's
budget will
expensive.
cover 2 trees down and having them hauled out for the year.
So I ask from a town perspective, is there anyone, tree warden, anyone doing inspections on the rail trail to highlight weaknesses that might be coming down?
We had that,
We had somebody
In the
doing
past.
that. We tried to put that in the budget and get, I had a tree guy come and look and do it
Yeah.
so much every couple of years, but with the old maintenance, it kind of got to be a thorny issue. And he dropped the ball on it, so that was his deal and I never followed up on it and I don't think he did anything after 2 years ago.
I mean, that's something I would
Yeah,
encourage.
it should definitely be
Preventative
done.
maintenance takes care of all the emergencies, not all of
Yeah.
them, but a lot of them.
No.
Gets
quite
ahead
quite a
of a
bit.
lot of them.
Right.
Sure, sure.
And we don't want anyone
Little
getting hurt,
PMI.
obviously, you
Yeah.
know?
No, we kind of, it's been like a problem since we've looked over the trail.
Yeah.
And it's been like a kind of a hodgepodge solution for years. I think it's.
I know when I
something
go,
we're Looking into.
I go and look at it, it's the rail trail, you call the same number, but there's the rail trail, Friends of the Rail Trail, then there's the Park and Rec, and then it says the selectmen are in charge of it,
Yeah,
and the rail trail,
Friends
there's like three.
basically have their idea of projects on the trail and they run it through me and I'll run it through the board.
Yep.
Like anything they're looking to do.
Yeah, again.
But
If
I
you could.
mean, it's not the greatest solution, but things
No.
get done, but it's not done immediately kind of thing.
I get it, I get it, I guess I would just like, if there's a way to clarify what I'm responsible for now, that you
Okay.
brought.
Well, I'm not really sure what the town hired you for, if you're here temporarily to kind of fix everything before or temporarily
Question.
or permit.
You know?
No, I'm just not sure. I mean,
So the way I was brought in was to look to fill a void. There's a lot of big projects going on with roofs and other things. The clerk of the works went to Florida. So I used to work with him with the fire projects and stuff. I'm helping be the eyes and ears for him on some of the HVAC, the grants and some of that stuff. And on top of that, I'm helping the maintenance crews get up and go on some of the procurement issues, and all the kind of the global stuff. We're fortunate that we got great people doing stuff. They've really been attacking anything that we got that's come up if we know about it and trying to prioritize it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm, the long way around trying to get at. I'm here to help you, we're here to help you, but we gotta prioritize and know what lane we're in. We just can't be all over the place. And I know there's a history that was a little broader net maybe in the past. Another, just to ramble on here, but one of the other items that came, which bothered me, was that your last meeting, you got a complaint that the playscape had some dangerous parts and whatnot.
well, that was nothing that came to us. It came. to
I know,
me.
it was 8 months ago, they
Yeah,
said
we knew
that,
nothing about it, but I mean, that's like probably one of a lot of things that were like that.
but with that said, from the last meeting, I did not get anything brought forward from any of you that, hey, we got a maintenance problem at the playscape or dangerous items. I took it upon myself and Kara
Well, we
to bring in
we
the
got a
vendor.
report from you. I don't know.
Right, but what I mean is nothing came through Hero, nothing said, hey, can you check out the
Well,
playscape?
okay, woo, stop. First of all, I don't think anybody on this board knows what Hero was, so now we need to.
Right, no, that's fine,
We're gonna. back
But there was-
up because Hero's gonna be great, right?
right, well, it's like,
And-
call it Hero, I guess.
Cause it's gonna be our savior right now. No, but in all seriousness, but then to go back onto that. And again, we're gonna, we're not here to beat up anybody else,
No.
but. As a board who comes in once a month and meets, we had certain things that we were requiring or we were asking to be done and they're not, or they weren't. So we're kind of picking up the pieces now and
So
looking
am I,
at kind
so.
of clean up. And yes, so I appreciate that you did this presentation or however you wanna
Mhm.
call it. So we need to address that now.
Right.
But the problem is we can't just say, hey, here's $30,000,
I-
we're gonna, so we gotta figure
I
out.
think
as a
Kara and I were
board.
both in shock when
Yeah.
we saw it.
I mean, I looked at it and I was like, oh my God. So we gotta
And
figure
again,
out
that's
how
from
we
the
can,
vendor.
right,
Yeah, she's
So-
trying to sell you all new, and I think we can do some things where we're not spending that kind of money.
so we need to figure that out.
Yep.
I think, and I think what we need to do is just kind of work at one thing, like with this, is work one thing at a time, like easy things like mulch. Mulch
Yeah, I-
can be purchased, we've bought mulch as a board before, the playground mulch that's required, we've done the
Mm-hmm.
ADA. So I think we need to come back and revisit that, get the mulch, put it somewhere, get the mulch in there, kind of cover that stuff.
Yep.
Cover some of your things that you were talking about, maybe start with the repairs that we can do and then work
That's
on.
my thought, when I mentioned, the sharp edges, I said, well, can't
Yeah.
we sand them and put tape
Yeah.
over them
I
or
think
something?
we'd be able to carve them out and epoxy them and make it, I know it's still a liability thing, but I.
But it's a
mean-
liability for doing nothing. That
Yeah.
was my
But
point.
Yeah.
I mean, for $50 worth of epoxy and repairing the things,
I would agree.
but just to take care of that thing compared to $2,000 for a climbing thing, and then.
I think of all of them, I think like the climber, we could fix something, we could make it work somehow. The only concern I had was the merry-go-round, the brake was gone,
That would be something worth replacing
but
and,
that's hundreds, I think, not thousands.
Yeah.
yeah, and then the part around it, I mean, you could use something like the Flex Seal or the rubber patching around the
Yep.
hole outside to seal that where it's gonna be fine. But I think definitely the brake thing
Yeah,
would be worth doing, but I think that's something we can discuss.
and I did ask her again today, I called her or left a message saying, hey, I have a meeting tonight. Do you have the cost on the merry-go-round? Cause she didn't realize it was as rough as it was with all the delaminating and stuff like that. Which I didn't get a
But the
price.
delaminating, when I took a look at it, looked like something that you'd be able to take off and re-rubberize around the outside and,
I was
that would
thinking of
be-
blue duct tape for now.
yeah, but I mean, even if you use like Flex Seal, like a couple of
Right.
gallons, I mean, you're looking at probably $250 plus the labor on that.
Yeah, but again,
But I mean.
is
this
that my
not-
responsibility? Is that Park and Rec's responsibility with maintenance? Where does it fall?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I think we can discuss this afterwards and see what we should do immediately and what we should
Yep.
do midterm and.
That's
get back
fine.
To you on that.
Yeah, that's fine. I just
But the
didn't,
tree thing.
it seems like it's settled and I'm not,
It's kind of working, but.
I'm kind of the
not-
stepchild, so
not-
it's all right.
not Like ideally,
That's fine. I guess I was surprised. Cause in public safety, DPW took care of the immediate need and then come back later and I don't
in an
understand
ideal,
why,
in an ideal world and,
I don't understand why we
But-
can't do that. So
well,
that's-
it's just the way the
Yeah,
towns.
Dave, I think that's a good point. If there's a large tree that falls and, it gets cleared, I don't think we have the equipment to move it if it's on the apron. And if it's a public safety concern, you can't get an ambulance or a police car down because of that. I think we need the help from the DPW. And we should probably relook at that policy.
We did talk with the selectmen about that a little while ago, and I think that's gonna be an ongoing discussion. About doing something with the DPW with moving forward.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? If they clear that big tree, which is what I thought I heard, if we don't have the resources available and they move it to the apron and then it just gets left there, does that tree fall on a Friday night and, we don't have the means or someone to get there till Wednesday? And, if there's an incident, in between that's a problem and that's a town problem.
True.
I think, Dave, I think you're right, and I think one of the things that we tried to express when we met with, the select board was that there needs to be a policy probably in writing. And I think that we talked about, or I was hoping that we conveyed that there needs to be a working group, smaller group or a group of people that need to kind of come up with a policy in regards to that. And one of the things is that Dave taking on a lot of the responsibility is going on his free time and, you know, helping out with friends or people that he kind of has made connections with and cutting a tree or using, you know, cutting it smaller for firewood. So yes, we do need a policy on that. And we had a huge storm. I can't remember when that storm was, but if there were huge trees that fell in Wally Park, and that's what kind of started our whole thing with, who was gonna do what, cause we were looking at these huge pine trees that fell. So we kind of had set up a thing where it was like, well, DPW, but maybe we need to go a little step further and say, okay, if you guys cut it down, okay, who takes it away, who cuts it, where does it go, kind of thing.
Yeah, cause I mean, in the maintenance part of it, you know, obviously I'm only here temporarily, but
Mhm.
things have to be figured out in that. You know, when the spray park goes in or the pickleball court goes in, all those things are gonna add to use of the day, you know, of everything. And we're gonna increase the trash, you're gonna increase the wear, you're gonna increase the bathrooms, you know, all that stuff will happen.
Yeah, that's gonna be another discussion.
Right.
This winter with everything.
So, getting those things in line, obviously, I think are important, and I can see the need for, you know, when I came into it, I go, oh, I don't know how to line a field, I don't know how to do it. And so when you said, guy said, you got your people coming, I'm like, yes. You know,
We all were like, yes.
because it isn't just simply getting someone to mow the lawn.
No,
No,
It's a facility that needs management. And as that facility grows, it's a gem for the town, but it needs to be addressed and taken care of on different levels
On an
all the
ongoing
way.
basis.
Yep.
And I think we're made aware of that now, and one of the things is that we know that, so part of the problem is that the playground has been kind of used, it's been used a lot, but the maintenance wasn't there. And not, I'm just talking from the time that I've been on the board, so we kind of need, we actually had mentioned this before, is like, now we know that the pickleball courts are going in, now that we know that the water park is going in, what happens when the little things that spray the water out? So.
Cause there
we
is
need
some preventative maintenance,
Yeah,
wiping
right.
them down and stuff like that, or,
Right,
you know,
and
kid leaves a
that's-
diaper in the flow, but who's
Yeah.
taking care of it? You
And
know,
those are the kind of things that you don't think about when everything it's a great idea and you're voting on it, but then we gotta think about the long term.
growing pains, you know?
Exactly. And you gotta think about, then the board changes, members and things like that. So those are things that we have to keep constantly being reminded of, that we need to take care of, so that we don't have a $30,000 bill for the, you know, the playground, the play
Right.
stand.
So one of the other items that was trash, which I think the person cleaning the facilities now is doing the trash, is that what we agreed?
Yep.
So, I know the chief came to you and so we have a problem with trash in town on everything other than town hall. So we have all the gorge, all the other facilities, conservation areas, all those areas that we're having north of the boat ramps. There's a huge trash, issue there as far as pretty much 6 hours a day. One of my folks have to go out and do that. So we're looking at breaking that off. Bobby has a plan to break that off and have someone doing it at least during the peak seasons. And so what we wanted to make sure is, do you want to be involved in that? Even if it's that the person that's taking the trash now puts it out and we pick it up instead of having them to truck it to the dump. Transfer station. So if you want to be part of that, let Bobby know,
okay.
but I think it would be wise, Landis, the acting, CEO. I think it'd be wise to keep it consistent, that all of these, if you want to call them sub facilities, are being taken care of. And then when there's the off season, we have to look for a plan B to pick that up as well. So, he's in the process of setting that up for all the other things. I think it would only be wise if we include the park as part of that.
they don't just have somebody they can hire year round to do it. It's gotta be part and part. So we're gonna get into another thing like rail trail trees. I mean, they can't
I-
get somebody year round kind of thing.
I don't disagree. We're
Well-
breaking new grounds with this.
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense if we're starting fresh on something and instead of doing like the trees and doing a half year,
There's-
trees and a half year with.
I don't wanna,
doing
I don't wanna speak, I agree with you, but I don't wanna speak for Bob, because there's a couple plans in place.
Well, I think we should look, if we're gonna be involved in it, I think we need somebody like a year round, like this is the person instead of like. In November, we're saying, yeah, it's a nice winter, we need somebody to do the park and all of a sudden we're going through the same thing again.
You bring up a valid point.
Okay,
And I don't-
well, I'm not sure who's doing the hiring, but I think that should get through to them.
I would get that message to Bob Landis if that's, you know, and if it's
Okay.
as a commission, that's how you feel.
Well, I mean, this is my personal opinion, but I mean, like this year where it was a mild winter and the trail was probably closed maybe 3 weeks out of the whole winter and there's trash on the trail that had to be emptied all year. And we have somebody going till November and then we're doing this stuff like November to March. I mean,
So
it's
the,
been, our maintenance thing has been like the worst thing over the year, I would say.
Mhm.
Like every year, it's like the same thing, maintenance, nothing gets done.
so, right,
Not you, mate.
Not,
no,
not you.
no, I know,
But I'm just saying in the past, like everything from trees to clean up.
I get it, I,
And I'm not dumping. on
they're
you,
giving
believe
me like,
No.
oh, this happens here, and this person does
No, I'm
this,
not
and this
dumping
person
on
does
you,
this,
I'm
I'm
just-
like, how do
I'm
you
just
do
saying
that?
it
you know?
would be nice to have somebody like year round.
There needs to be
instead of-
consistency.
Yeah, instead of like
Yeah.
piecemeal and things.
I
Year
don't
by
disagree.
year and month by month.
Well,
kind
I
of thing.
think the problem is they never wanted to hire somebody. It was always divvied out to the part-time staff throughout the seasons and stuff.
Yeah,
So now
so,
they're looking at hiring somebody.
so I'm taking someone at a carpenter's rate and sending them out to pick up trash for 6 hours, that's not conducive to the town,
Right.
so,
This is like
No,
6 hours a day, every day.
once a week.
Oh, okay.
By the time you do rail trail,
Yeah.
all the
yeah,
parks,
that
the
makes
gorges and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So,
So you guys can see, you would wanna do that. Right now, Karen cleans the bathrooms and she empties the trash.
and
She
takes
puts
it,
the trash
or-
in a location and the Wally Park guys are bringing it to
To the
the
dump.
dump, yeah.
so the only difference would be is that she would put it out and somebody else would pick it.
Right.
So your maintenance folks aren't having to
Right.
deal with it. Keep in mind, 4th of July issues, motocross, any big
Concerts,
event,
the
concerts, any big events. Obviously, that increases, which
4th of
puts
July.
more burden on her, which then puts payroll on somebody else for extra hours, whether it's you, me, whoever.
Right.
Cause it's all divvied up. I know. Well, Bob had mentioned it to you, how you divvy up the salary line items and all that stuff. We have to pick from everybody to do it.
Yep.
Um,
So each individual department will be responsible for.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing to discuss.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Yep.
kind of makes sense though.
Mhm.
And I think that's my rambling of list of stuff.
Sounds good. You were good. Thank you.
Go away now.
Sorry you have to
Well,
deal
we
with
have
all of
everybody-
this.
No,
everybody else
but again,
No, no, thank you, Russ.
If there's any questions, by all means, Kara's down the hall.
No, we'll go
She knows how
through
to
the
find
main,
me.
we'll go through the park things and
And if-
some things have to be taken care of.
Yeah, I know there was,
Yeah.
I know we painted all the bathrooms this year. There was some sinks he fixed. There was a question of some other sinks, if they were, coming off the walls or not, but
I don't know why people love to sit on the sinks in the bathrooms.
is that what it is?
Don't understand. Yeah, I don't get
Or
it.
stand up.
Or
I don't know.
stand or push on. I don't know. I don't understand how so many sinks come off the wall.
I was wondering that myself, but
We don't want
were
to.
they sore losers in the game or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's just
It's
hanging
been an
around.
ongoing issue.
So with that being said, I know Rob's here and stuff, but when we get to the spray park and pickleball and all that stuff, do you see maintenance of those issues coming under the people that you have doing it now? Or coming
I
under,
don't see
would-
how they
it
have
would-
time.
It would probably be under maintenance, because basically the guys we got up
when
there.
you say maintenance, town maintenance or,
Probably like your department maintenance.
okay,
I think the bigger things, the guys at the park more mowing, taking care of the fields. And that kind of,
because there's, I mean, I was looking at the spray park. How-to manual, and there's a lot to it as far as getting it up and running and you know, someone has to learn the system, whether that's a maintenance person, the water department, whoever it is.
That'll be coming up in a little bit if you wanna listen.
Okay, we'll
I think
see.
it's next.
Is it next?
I think it is.
I'll go away. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, take some.
Thank you.
All right. So, moving on swiftly. Spray park? Any updates?
It's crowding.
Sorry.
Gotta move out of your house.
They just moved a 40-foot flagpole in there too, so.
Oh, okay. So it's time for it to go.
Well, it's time to get installed,
So what are we looking at? Time frame?
whatever Crestview decides they wanna do
So we're waiting on Crestview.
it. Hmm.
Okay.
What are they looking like? Any idea or?
Don't know, I haven't had a lot of time to, track them down.
I had a brief conversation with them and I thought it was late May.
It's comfortable over
It's nice.
there. May?
They said late May, so that was early. So it might have changed since then.
I'll give them a call.
I can actually text them.
Well, send me a text reminding me to call.
So can I ask, so does that mean because you're the maintenance director right now? You're gonna assume the responsibility of being like the clerk of the works? Or you're being surprised with that as well?
That's a question.
Okay.
I don't have an answer for.
Yeah,
If it's like the other projects, the answer would be yes.
okay,
I'm not sure how I fit that in
right,
15 hours a week, but
right. So we need to kind of figure that out, right?
Well,
Okay.
it probably makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens in other communities is if you had down under or somebody like that, blow out the system at the end of the year, and then typically the water department would take the backflow preventer off. And they'd get everything winterized. It's typically what would happen. So I think between those two, and then with the oversight of your.
yeah, right now, water department blows out all the lines for like cemetery, the town beach.
So maybe the water department does the whole thing, but if not, you know, an irrigation company could blow everything out.
Okay,
Okay.
And then the O and M plan, the operation maintenance plan that they provided is pretty detailed on how to do that.
okay.
So. Do you have full-time staff at,
2 part-time, 2 20-hour week.
does that get reduced towards the end of the season?
Yeah, so they're April to October.
So October would probably be the time, to, you know, maybe even earlier, that they would be looking to do that. So I don't know if that staff gets trained. Or if it makes sense. I think the water department needs to be involved regardless.
Okay.
The problem they have is their staff may not be the same next year.
Yeah, no, sure.
Who is it?
Someone to get in.
I should have done it for you. I'm sorry.
So I probably, if it's not too time consuming, the guys, if it's a daily thing, that's not super time consuming, the guys could do, but they only have 20 hours, so I don't
There could be
know.
Less mowing.
I mean, the only thing I read was some of the heads need to be wiped down for whatever, and then maybe squeegee in the, whatever you call the base. Make sure
Okay,
There's no, molds or slippery stuff starting to grow. Again, I took a real quick person. A lot has to do with what water quality is and everything else, so.
yeah,
'Cause it's all processed, right? It goes through not
It's
chlorinated.
Chlorinated water, it's the town, so it's the town water going into the system, and we were gonna dechlorinate it before we injected it into the drainage system, but we decided not to do that. Really, so it's potable water.
Okay.
So I would anticipate.
It's not reclaimed and
Yeah, it's pretty wide open, there's really no trees around it, so I wouldn't think you'd have much of, maintenance on the surface. Just making sure that, you know, the stained concrete, chipping and stuff like that, but
Right.
yeah, so. Let's figure that out.
The mowing. And it drops off after the end of October, middle of October.
Okay. But it sounds like if you have
They do it.
squeegeeing and wiping down, that might be weekly.
Could be something that, cause you know, the person that's up there cleaning the facility, and again, I'm not 100%.
Yeah,
It might be something that's a 10-minute deal, you know.
yeah, so we have to figure, okay.
Might be another hour or two a week on there.
For example, or
Okay.
somebody like that. Well,
Okay. Okay, anything else on spray park?
I think we're good. We could probably move.
Killed
on.
it? Pickleball? Pickleball next?
Pickleball? Pickleball, it's expensive.
Uh-oh.
What are we looking at expensive?
Well, so Randy and I have been communicating back and forth, and I've also had the project out in Wilbraham that had gone out to bid, came back. We had 3 bidders, we had Mass West Construction, we had Gagley Aducci Construction, who I think just bid it as a favor to the town, because they're a pretty big operation. And then Mountain View Landscaping. Mass West was low, Gags was next, and then Mountain View was the highest, which I was kind of surprised at because they kind of focus on park and recreation work. And the total for our base bid, which had some addition, it was 6 courts in 1 location. Had some other landscaping and some requirements along with it, was $475. $675 with lighting, I believe, or something around those numbers.
That was 6 courts, you said,
That
Rob?
was for 6 courts that were all contiguous in a similar configuration to what you would like to be doing at Wally Park. Randy and I have also been looking at a quote that was secured by Classic Turf, which I would argue, if you took out some of the things that we had in our base bid, Wilbraham makes it comparable to what Randy is looking at. So we were thinking that if you're doing about 6 courts, we're looking at 70 to 80 a court, it seems, to get constructed without lighting.
One of the things though is that these companies that bid on this, none of them are pickleball companies.
Right, so
It's
it's not,
contractors who are gonna act as a GC and hire a paver,
Yeah.
a fence, and then a company to come in and do the finishing of the courts, put the nets up and stuff, and then tack on whatever their, you know, their portion of that's gonna be. So this company here that I talked to, this is what they do. They do sport courts. It's called Classic Turf, and it's a concrete, post-tension surface, which is a 20-year, structural warranty on it as well.
so if you kind of take their number for 4 courts, you know, it's about 70 grand a court.
Yeah, I quoted it for, he was able to pull up Wally Park, look at the topo and give me a quick quote, so to speak, and emailed it over to me, and it came in at 270, 280, which you may be able to sharpen the pencil a little bit, but that was for 4 courts, no lighting, and that the town would do the prep as far as the site goes. I'll give you a copy, you can handle it.
So it's pretty close to the other price.
Comparable, yeah. Yeah, I think if you took out the component that we had in Wilbraham, went, you know, multiplied this number, you know, the per court times 6 courts, they're gonna be almost the same without lighting. So, you know, there's, with a general contractor, I talked to Gagley Aducci after they were second. I talked to them, and they said, look, there was really no work for the site contractor themselves. You're basically subbing out everything and overseeing stuff because of the time frame and, you know, the opportunity cost of having one of their, you know, managers on site for
Right.
that time. Not to mention you have a gap once you have the asphalt. You can cure for a month.
Between that and the fencing and,
Yeah, so it's kind of just a, I hate to say it, it's kind of a crappy job for a site contractor. So if you can get some of these companies, for example, this company, to bid this out, or to bid this, that's great. So we can send it out to anybody, but you have to go to, you know, you'd have to obviously have all the procurement procedures in place and go out and bid. We did talk to Crestview, who was interested in it, but I have a feeling that, and I haven't circled back with them, but my guess is your money's shy for what you had.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be interested in doing the site work, yeah, as far as. And that's what this company is looking for, the site to be prepared for them prior to them coming in. You know, it's all in their quote that they gave, he detailed it pretty good.
And then you had the two different locations, which obviously adds a level of complexity and cost. So I guess bottom line is, I think the number for 6 courts is probably in the $400,000 range, I think is the reality.
What do we have set aside for? Thought I heard something like 330 or something total. Don't quote me, but somewhere's in that.
It's somewhere around there,
somewhere
yeah.
in that ballpark.
Yeah.
It was like, I thought I heard like 220 and 110 maybe, something.
Yeah, I think.
But that was for 207 locations, 4, the 4. No, I'm sorry, 4 and 2.
Yeah, 4 and 2.
The price is two separate.
So you have 2 mobilizations, 2 different projects going out to bid, might be 2 different contractors. There's no state bid contract. For that type of thing, I mean. You mean for like equipment?
So you could bypass the RFQ process. You don't know how to move thousands, and then you might get into sub-bid trades and all that.
207 and 150.
Yeah, the way we've been doing it, just putting it out.
Does that look
Putting it
right?
out to bid, we thought Crestview might be able to do it and still might be able to do it under their town contract.
Right.
There's some discussion there, which would be great. I just don't know, maybe,
207, 115.
a tighter number, but my guess is we're gonna have a shortfall.
We're like 20,000.
We're gonna have to go back to CBC
And it's kind of,
town meeting.
right, so I think clarifying what you want, really getting a good solid number on it. I think the Wolverhampton, it's worth just little inside baseball, we're going back out to bid Wolverhampton. We're gonna value engineer it, get it down. They want to try to get it down in the mid 3s to high 3s. So they're taking kind of all of their wish list items out. We had a base bid that had the courts, the light pole bases, the pavilion bases, which are small pavilions, I think they're 12 by 20 pavilions, there's 2 of them. And then they had some improvements and some electrical connections that it adds up. So we're taking all that out. We're like, okay, we need sports.
Just doing courts.
Just
basically,
courts.
yeah.
We're taking the fencing from 10 to 8, around the perimeter. We're doing, just kind of,
Yeah.
cutting anything we can to try to fit it into that number. So there's a possibility that, we're gonna come in, hopefully we're gonna come in the mid 3s with everything. But that's kind of bare bones, no provisions for lighting later, anything like that. So, it gives you some perspective as to where you're at. But I do think if you're gonna go back to CPA, it might make sense to consolidate this project as opposed to 2, because I think that's just gonna be pretty costly to do 2 different projects. It's gonna add probably, you're gonna add the GC fee, but most likely, and mobilization at the very least for each of the projects. But, as long as you know that and prepare for it, you can do that.
Well, we have to go back to town meeting anyway.
Yeah.
So we can decide what we wanna do.
But I hear what Rob is saying is what we have currently earmarked is way short,
Yeah,
right? So we need to, with this, we need to figure out what our requirements are and the reason for the 2 courts was 2 completely different requests, right? Pickleball in Southwick is a great idea. But there was a specific request to do it for the Castle of Brady, right, here. Right, and it'd still be open to the public, but basically during the day, that's what, they would have most access to it.
Yeah.
And then the other one was general use, right? And the idea was to, as best we could, try to keep them separated, you know what I mean? And, that way we're not taking a bus from here to Wally Park, so they get the pickleball in and then we have, I don't wanna say what just crossed my head. I don't wanna see pickleball racket people whacking each other, you know what I mean, to get court time. But that's why we had the 2 requests. It may be a little ambitious. So I think we had to talk about
What
it.
do you think, Ryan? As far as, people getting court access, it's kind of. you know, people will show up. There's a paddling system where you put your paddles and you wait and you
Yep.
play. It's pretty low key as far as that. I've really never seen anything where it gets, you know.
Yeah,
uh,
unless you go to Holyoke Community College, right? So,
Holy community, yeah,
Yeah.
during the day. And even, so I was in Agawam last weekend and there was 4 courts. And at one point there was 30 people there.
yeah, and it's like
So you can
pickup
only play
basketball. They're
60
pretty
at a
cool
time.
about it.
But it moved very good.
Yeah.
And at that point, people say, hey, let's only play to 9, let's get off. So,
Yes.
I mean, the amount of money that was budgeted. When I looked at it right from the get-go, when I started talking to companies, and I called some companies, there's a company out of New Hampshire, you know, they call themselves Vermont Surfacing, they're out of Monroe, New Hampshire, so I'm not sure how that came to be, but. They'd be interested in. You know, bidding the project, and they're a court company. There's one out of North Andover that just does tennis courts. You think we'd probably get better pricing, because this company here, they just do courts, they do the work. They tell you what they have, but I think we're gonna need, you know, something on paper, like Rick referred to, as to what do we want? What do we want them to bid on, you know? So we want 4 courts at Wally Park, 2 courts at Town Hall. You know, is it gonna be, we want asphalt, we want an 8-foot fence, a 6-foot fence. It's pretty basic. I mean, I'm watching, right now, Agawam is putting 2 more courts in. This spring, it's been happening, so it's been paved. I think now they're getting ready to do the fencing around it. And I know they're using Hasty Fence to do their fencing. So they kind of split it out as far as the bidding, and then they have a company coming in that's gonna do the surfacing,
The
which is
actual work.
a
yeah.
multi-layering of the acrylic finish and doing the nets and lining it out for them. And that's how they're doing it. You know, they just didn't hire a company to be the GC basically. And then, you know, add on whatever they add on as the GC. Like you said, Gagnon Reducci really probably wasn't interested in the job, but they do a lot of work, so. You know, so that's my take on it.
Yes.
May I participate? Diana Gale, 5 Pine Grove Road. As a taxpayer, in my mind, it didn't make sense to split the project, because everybody knows when you do that, it costs more money. And to have these segregated for seniors made no sense either, because the seniors are driving to the senior center to go play. Why can't they drive to Raleigh Park to play? You can give them preferred parking if you like. To make that special or whatever, but it just didn't make sense to a lot of taxpayers to have 2 sets.
I agree. What was your experience you felt with the seniors playing here?
You know, I did 8 or 10 clinics. I did 8 or 10 clinics, and the seniors, I think a lot of them came, they had a great time. You know, I think part of it is, in pickleball, is very social, and you get out of it what you put into it. And I think a lot of people just like being there with everybody. And I think that you're right, people who are gonna play, wanna go play, they're currently, because I run into them. And yes, they're going to Suffield to play, they're going other places. I think some of the other people that, the last time I did the clinic, they've never gone and played any place. I would tend to guess that. I've never seen them anywhere. And I'm in, you know, Westfield, Agawam, Suffield, and I'm retired, so I'm there during the daytime as well. I've run into one person in Westfield who I gave the lessons to, and another couple in Suffield, so. But I agree that if you can, you know, you're driving, and that you can certainly drive over to Wally Park, which is probably what, a half mile, 3/4 of a mile away to play. But I know, you know, it's voted on, and that's, you know, dealing with what we have and cost
We're gonna
wise.
have to re-vote anyway.
It's certainly gonna be cheaper to put 6 courts in one spot than do 2 separate projects, so.
Yeah, I'd rather see 6 lit courts
Exactly.
at one spot, yeah.
Was it 6 and 2, maybe?
It was 4
4
and
and
2.
2.
4 and 2,
4 and 2, but even at 4 and 2, what was voted and approved,
yeah.
we're not gonna have the budget for
And
it.
that
No.
makes your maintenance a lot more efficient.
Right. I
They're
mean-
in one place.
Speaking on maintenance, as far as I know, Russ had concerns, from what I've seen of all the pickleball, you have bathrooms that need maintenance, and you have trash. There really isn't much maintenance on a pickleball court. People that go play will dry the courts, blow the courts off, you know, sweep them off.
Maintain it. They'll bring their
Maintain it.
leaf blowers. and-
Bring the leaf blowers, and we take care of the courts. There really isn't much maintenance on the court itself. There's very little bathrooms.
trash. John mentioned the lighting, an alternative for lighting, kind of different than we did in Wilbraham. Would be to do something similar to the Musco lighting that you have on the soccer field. Because what we did is we integrated in our initial go at it, we integrated the lighting into the course, so we had light bulb bases that needed to be installed in the base bid. So if you didn't have the money for lighting immediately, and you wanted to get the courts going, you could always do something similar to where the lighting's outside of the course and then shining in like those taller Musco lights. Ours was integrated in, so that kind of added some costs to the base bid. That's something to think about too. So you do have the option of lighting it after the fact without having to carry all the conduit and everything else through the court in the base bid. So that's probably a way to keep the cost down. But I'm sorry, I play pickleball all the time. I'm getting beat by 78-year-old former gym teachers. I beat 20-year-olds. So I mean, I think that separating the seniors, thinking that they won't interact and play, I think is completely wrong. I think they will play and they will compete with all different age groups.
Same thing with racquetball.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would like solar lights to be considered, solar stadium lights.
At the cost of,
I should use that in
Not when you look at the electric bill, no. Especially when you look at the electric bill at one.
but I think it's fair to say that it isn't gonna happen this year. Because now we have to revisit the application process, we have to revise it, right? We're gonna have to go back in front of CPC. And then we have to go back in front of the town for a new vote. I don't know how it's gonna go over, but I
I
guess
think
we'll
it'll
see.
go extremely well.
Okay. But we'll have to do that, right?
Everybody knows the price of
If we
everything
need
has
more
gone up.
discussions on it.
But don't plan for next May, hope for another special town meeting in the fall. So shoot.
No, I mean, don't or do, I'm sorry.
Shoot for,
Oh, yes,
hope for
yes,
a fall
I got you,
special.
got you, yeah, so get on it, but
And
And
then
be
you're ready to rock
prepared
and
just in
roll in the
case.
spring.
So, yeah, so in the meantime, I think what we need to do is, I would like to work with you guys to figure out what is it that we think we want, and let's put that together so we can understand what the ask will be, and let's bring that to the town, right?
I think if you guys work with Randy, figure out what you want, if you guys want a sketch to go back to CPA with, or I can do that quick. And then when it comes around, we can figure out, who knows, in a perfect world. I still think you should probably talk to Crestview. Who knows, maybe they came in with some crazy little number in their mind, and maybe you have enough money.
To GC the whole project?
Well, yeah, I mean, under the town contract, they're gonna literally be there doing a spray park, so I wouldn't totally throw that out yet. But the reality is, I don't think there's gonna be enough.
I'm gonna be talking, I need to talk to John tomorrow for something else, so I'll talk to him about it. Okay.
Well, regardless, right, if we go with like a classic turf type, they're gonna need someone to do the prep work regardless, right? So
Correct.
you might have two, maybe even three different type, staging bids that need to go out. Right, the prep, the actual work, maybe lighting, whatever else, right? So we just gotta figure out what that package looks like so we can go get it approved.
My only suggestion is go out to bid before the fall town meeting, if that's what you have real numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed. Do it as if it's gonna happen and then we'll bring it to the town, and that way we got the information, right? Requests for bids don't necessarily mean the work's gonna happen.
At town hall, where was it going with the, volleyball nets are, or where?
Yes.
Right there. And land's a premium here too. So it's moving it is.
Yeah. We'll find that out there in the elections,
Right. Or any,
or anything, really.
Okay. So we're good with pickleball? For now, we beat it up enough tonight,
Yeah, I think we need to, keep it on the agenda.
we do,
Thanks.
we will,
So if it's okay, what I'll do is I'll be available to Randy, so if Randy communicates, and then if you guys need
Yeah.
something, if you're John or Randy, you guys can get me. but right now, you don't need me to figure out what you want.
No, Randy next time figure that out. Randy, just reach out to me. We'll go have lunch or something.
Why don't we have a subcommittee?
Let's do that.
You and Randy.
I like it.
Sounds good.
Do you want more people on the subcommittee? Because I get people all the time from Southwood saying, do you need me to come? Do you want? And I said, at this point, I said, we're still in kind of the infancy of it, getting things up.
What I'm most interested in is finding a few companies that you tell them you want the courts and they put them in.
Yeah.
And see what their prices are, what they anticipate their
And this
prices
is
will
what
be in
they're
6
saying
months.
to me is, do you have you have the project, you have something in writing that then we can bid on.
And that's what we would
Right.
put
that's
together
what-
as a
that's what they
subcommittee.
need.
Yeah,
So
so,
then these companies would be able to go through the bidding process, whether it, officially when it needs to happen, or give us, I guess, an unofficial quote, sort of like Plastic Turf did here. They realize they have to go through the bidding process when it happens, but they were willing to give us a quote, and that's
Sure. yeah, no, that's good. I think we keep it, the three of us. Friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Under dust stress.
Sounds good. Got it.
We have to vote on that.
I vote no.
I don't think yet. No,
I'm
I
fine
don't
with it.
think yet,
No,
till we get some
we'll
more.
just get together.
Once we get the information,
Three
we're gonna have to,
citizens.
yeah, it's 3 citizens coming together to discuss pickleball.
Yes, and it's less than.
All right.
Quarter. So you're good. Yeah. Okay. Okay,
Anything else with Wally Park? There was one thing from last meeting, the shed for the Titans.
oh,
They never reached out.
He hasn't
so
done anything. I ran into him up
Okay,
there one night.
Just letting you guys know that,
I haven't heard
so
from
They
no
were-
updates.
yeah, no updates on that.
Bye.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye,
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
The door's been jerry rigged back on the shed. I come there every day with the dogs. I said that.
Thanks, Rob.
So
Did you put it back
I
on?
did actually, the first time.
Thank you.
I did
On the
put it back
softball shed?
On the softball shed, yeah. Someone had ripped it off for.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, we know.
yeah,
Can you
yeah.
put that back on?
I put it back on so that at the time I was there, it was during winter still with the snow. So snow didn't get in, so.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Someone looks like they fixed it better.
Thank you.
appreciate it. How's it look? Did
I
you
didn't look.
see it at softball?
No.
It looked like it was on there when I was up there.
Speaking of doing more than. He said there's 6 beds in. What? In the shed, with the damaged door?
Yep.
I didn't look.
Well, no one's gonna walk away with it, because if they do, what are they gonna do with it? I mean, seriously,
I'll look on Sunday, but I didn't look.
alright,
One thing maintenance wanted me to bring up, just an idea, I'm throwing it out there, they were thinking maybe a storage trailer. Somewhere where, right next to the maintenance building, we have the tractor. That's stored down, I guess, at the fire department now, we also have like the new infield groomer and everything else, and every time they've gotta get things out. They've gotta move things around and leave them outside. They were just wondering something like that to store the things that don't get used a lot, and the tractor that's down at the fire station to keep that down there if they need for projects. They said that would run around $300 to $3,500. I'm just throwing it out there, and then maybe the shed that's down there in that area could be moved over towards the softball and 70-foot field. To be a little more secure and keep Speedy dry and rakes and that kind of stuff down there. So I'm just throwing it out. I don't know if anybody has any ideas.
I have an idea, build another maintenance shed.
mhm.
Looks just like the one that's there.
Okay,
What, beside it?
Hmm?
Or beside it, or?
Either
somewhere
add
else?
on to it or, for the second building.
Mhm.
So basically, we run out of space in the current one.
We are.
well,
And,
it's really tight.
We've
okay,
been running
so
out.
I agree with John. I mean, if we're outgrowing our footprint, we need to change the footprint.
Do
Mhm.
we really wanna
Right.
look at a storage trailer?
I don't, I'm agreeing
I'm
with you. I
just
don't think
throwing it
so.
out
We
there.
just have 2 garages, we'll have 2 garages,
Or build on to the other one.
right,
Right,
right.
yeah.
It's been done before.
Alright,
Well, that would be
So-
something worth looking into, so we could get a little more room down there.
Which do you think would be better?
Well, I mean, it would be, like you say, more attractive adding on to the building, but that's gonna be a little more expensive. I don't know what we're looking at price wise for that. But I mean, even if we did like a 1 bay garage thing onto it to keep the tractor in and all the random things that don't get used as much, like the edgers and the rototillers and everything else that's up there that's kind of taking up a fair amount of footprint in the garage.
So I think we should get a quote for that, so we can look at them side by side, and then. I just wonder if we haven't had some potential overzealous purchasing on equipment from up there, just saying, and we should do
I
like an
would say
inventory of.
yes by
what's
listening
there.
to the maintenance guys.
Yeah.
There's stuff that's never gonna get used on the field.
So let's. Move some stuff out, I'm trying to be as kind as I can be.
Well, yeah, there's definitely things they say they're never gonna use on the baseball fields.
Okay. So what are we doing? We gotta find a home for them. Right?
Yes,
I guess that would
So-
go back to the town to be auctioned off, I think.
Yeah.
yeah. Do we get the not to sound,
We don't
Do
get the
we-
money from,
thank you. We don't.
right, correct?
Depends on where it came from.
It came from us.
If it was ours and we
If you had a
purchased it,
revolving account, it might,
yeah,
I would assume it would go back to your revolving account.
You're
Yeah.
being awfully
Yeah,
generous
right.
tonight.
Don't quote me on that, but. I-
well, we can find out.
Yeah.
Okay,
We need to look at that. I think, that's gonna help, right,
Yeah.
to, let's get rid of some of the stuff and see what space we really have, and then if we do need the space, let's get a quote on what's gonna take to expand, cause we have changed some of the footprint of what we're doing at Wally Park, right, and so maybe expansion makes sense, or maybe it would warrant just a shed, right, we don't know, cause we don't know what space we actually need, cause we got too much stuff in there.
Even if we had like a basic one-car garage, like the 8-foot wide garage door and space that was deep as the building, I think that would be,
Take care of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody you can get a bid from, John?
Yes.
Offhand?
same person who put the one that's there up.
No,
But,
he worked for free.
oh,
Oh, I
well, I
like that.
wasn't asking that.
That's even
but
better.
I was
I like that.
thinking,
Get them up there tomorrow,
No
John.
longer is.
I am quoting John Wally, free.
No, I
Yeah,
was thinking it would be easier, whoever had put that there, that they could be able to add to it.
Oh, no. But, certainly find someone else.
So you have people on.
I'll have a company that's building our building.
Okay,
And sure, I could convince them to quote on it,
okay,
just to get an idea.
all right. Sounds good.
Then we have a ROM on what we're doing. That'd be good. Did they ever figure out the garage doors up there?
yeah, that's working.
Okay, all right, good. I think we could put a pin in Wally Park.
I was just wondering, do we?
Yeah, I think we can blow it up since it's quoted at
Yeah.
8, so,
Wheelchair?
yeah, let's move on to the rail trail.
We already covered trees. The Friends were out there the last week of April and cleaned up all the kiosks and put new bulbs down. So that looks
Alright.
good, and they're doing a trail count, I think, the weekend of the 18th.
So get as many people as you can to go through that little camera thingy that they put on
Well,
there.
there'll be actual people out there.
Oh, they're actually
So-
counting, they're not doing the
No,
ticker
they'll be
thing?
out there with a table and their
Oh,
collection.
boy, okay,
I don't think
So,
there's ever a lack of people there. We definitely have a
Yeah.
good amount of people using the trail.
that's good. That's what we want.
And that's it for trail updates.
All right,
Good job.
thanks, Dave.
Moving along, Jeannie. Collect
I'm
ticket.
moving it. All right, old business, dog park.
We don't have anyone here from
Come
the
on,
dog park, do
Sarah.
we? Oh, there she is.
We have Sarah.
She found us
Good
tonight.
evening. Yes, I did. I found you guys tonight without the help of Diane, so thank you.
I had her on a leash.
Thanks for inviting me again.
Hello.
Mr. Raleigh, I believe this is my first time getting a chance to meet you, so pleasure to meet you.
Sure.
My name is Sarah. As you guys know, I'm kind of the dog park girl. I guess overall, what I wanted to state is I know we've kind of been reiterating some things over and over again in previous meetings. And I think after speaking with Diane and speaking with some other community members who are very interested, excuse me, that if we could have Park and Rec say do something like back this dog park and be so to say, like the ground part for the dog park. Then for myself being the liaison, raising money, writing grants, putting together a presentation for the CPC fund or CPA, correct me if I spell it wrong. CPC, thank you. I have no problem being a liaison whatsoever. I know that dog parks are primarily operated by municipalities, which would fall into something like Park and Rec. Which I think would be great because it kind of be all encompassing. I know they brought up, maintenance, which would kind of add to that, just a little with trash. I think dog people and dog owners are very responsible when it comes to dog parks. So as far as waste removal, that's kind of, that comes with the territory of owning a dog. Everybody knows you pick up after them. Furthermore, if we just put a little shed with a small shovel, I think that could deter most waste buildup, period. Really what we're looking for is just a place to work out of, a designated area. And once an area gets designated, then I can kind of go full bore on all the grant writing. Unfortunately for them, until a civic leader or some type of property or land is put in place, they're really not too interested in my grants, which I don't blame them at all. Cause it just looks like I'm asking for money. So with a little bit more backing behind it, it kind of helps the ball get rolling. And I guess that's where Park and Rec would come in. So if Park and Rec would be willing to take that on, which I know is kind of a big endeavor in itself. Myself personally can ensure that as a liaison, we do everything per the state of Massachusetts that are guidelines for a dog park. And I can continue to do that moving forward, even after the dog park is established, to monitor it and kind of make sure that the community gets all the right assets that they're allowed to have. You guys are protected, the community is protected, the taxpayers are protected, proper signage is put in place. Basically, what we used to refer to in the fire service as a gopher. So I just run around and do all the middle work and just need some good well-rounded people to kind of back me up and support the idea.
Do you have a site you're looking at yet or still in the process? Miss
We have
Gail?
a small little army behind Sarah here of very dedicated dog people in town that are volunteering their time to help put this together. But as Sarah and I have been talking about, I think it needs to be under the Park and Rec entity. But this little army can pull all of the design together. We can look for property. We can do all the fundraising events, all the marketing for it. Whatever we have to do, we can, do the grants, do the CPA, the applications. But eventually it has to fall under the community. We can, get all the signage, we can do all the work. We can get all the sign and me privately, not select board.
Yeah.
Do all the signage for the park, all the rules, scope out what all the other towns have for facilities and what they're using, they use a lot of the gravel dust. So there's less grass, there's a lot of the gravel dust walkways, less maintenance, things like that. We can scope all that out. We would have to put the CPA application together anyway, including fencing, et cetera. So no, we don't have a property yet. There are a couple of targets
So
in mind.
didn't we previously give the blessing?
Yeah,
We voted?
We have, but John's turned me on to a new idea that, I'm ruminating over, right? Should we build out a subcommittee for the dog park so that we can make traction between monthly sessions? Like just.
Somebody on the board. to
Someone
be
on the
liaison.
board kind of be the person that liaises with Sarah. Doesn't have to be one person, could be more than one. Just saying, should we do something like that so that we can, when we do identify property, we can get things moving more, but in the meantime, this small army they know that they've got the Parks and Recs kind of ready to go when we need to go. Just thinking.
Didn't we talk,
Go ahead.
I thought we talked about, at Wally Park down below the bathrooms, the
That
little
was
cul-de-sac,
one of the
like
areas
near
we were
there.
We
thinking.
did.
That
Yeah,
wasn't,
then
But
John
then-
also said there was a property over by the Supplicant, maybe I thought, right? That was like 3 meetings ago. You said you might have some property you might be looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But it needs parking. It needs space for.
yeah,
parking.
that property I think would need some work, right? Some
It needs
build up to get
access.
there,
It would
but
need a
it is a
bridge.
property.
Yeah,
right?
definitely the most cost effective would be Wally Park.
But is that big enough? I'm trying to visualize, in my head, I'm not visualizing that it's really big enough to have a dog park. that you
Yeah,
Wanna have.
I understand where you're
You know
coming
what I'm
from. I
saying?
think to
But-
be completely honest, we'd have to expand a little, whether it be to just push out a little to
Yeah.
provide, that way we could do dual, so we could have small dog park and
Right.
the large dog park, cause that's
Okay.
kind of what we're trying to avoid.
Is that
I don't-
still your stuff, or is this some of that, like?
no, we own everything.
Oh,
It's a
okay,
70-acre park,
okay,
but some
Some
of
of
the
it
areas like
wetland?
over by softball go
yeah,
down to the brook. So I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
Down by the
right.
lower park, when you go down,
Yeah, I'm
go over
not
by the
sure
motor
what-
class,
what's back in there.
yeah. But you own it, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know.
well, I mean,
well.
yeah, yeah, the
No.
town, yeah, I mean, it's Wally Park,
Right,
right?
it's
part of
but
the
it's
park.
Wally,
Yeah.
it's part of the park.
That place was very busy last night, by the way. There were
There
softball
was
games and
softball,
baseball,
that's
and
why.
that place was bumping.
Yeah.
So you definitely do draw quite a bit of people from the community and outside communities too, so. I think it could serve as a real great
Is it
benefit.
ideal to have it part of the Wally Park property? So,
That's entirely up to the community and how the community feels about that. I know personally, as of right now, a lot of people do take their dogs and walk around in
Oh,
Wally
they
Park.
certainly do.
Yeah,
That
don't
kind of
follow the
seems.
dog park rules.
Yes, and it
Correct.
seems kind of like a
Yeah.
local area for them to go,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know if that would disrupt the community by putting that in place and saying, hey, listen. You can no longer do this here, now we just have a designated spot, or if it, the flip side to that would be. Saying, hey, we have a safer spot for you to move with your dog without fear of softballs or.
I think it's more of the latter, right? Is that, I don't know that we ever say, no, you can't walk your dog in the park, but if there was a place for them to. Instead of walking their dog in the park, they had a place to go,
Mhm.
right?
Kind of like a kind diversion, right?
Yeah, yeah,
with
And we-
activities, I mean, we're envisioning it's gonna have, dog activity things in it as
Yes.
well.
yeah,
Yeah, not
Park
just
doesn't have a
grass.
playground for dogs.
correct,
As
yeah.
And we don't have any right of refusals coming up.
No idea.
I mean, I think those come and go, right?
They
So,
do,
yeah.
Those
but
would
I
be a
just
lot.
thought
And that
maybe,
was-
Those are generally a lot of acres, though.
true, I mean, it's a thought, cause
We're
I
looking
just,
for,
I mean,
we thought a minimum 2.5, maybe
Yeah.
3 would be grand, but.
Cause we'd always said that that's the next thing we were looking for is the next right of refusal. The first thing we're gonna be thinking is it's
Correct.
a dog park,
yeah,
right?
But it's too
So-
big, I mean, for
They're typically too
61A,
big. Yeah, yeah.
minimum acres is 5 to
Yeah.
be
That's
a 61A property.
oh, it is a minimum?
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, and there's not many that are that small, they're like contiguous pieces to
Right.
something else.
Right.
And are you allowed to purchase a portion of the right of refusal stuff? And not have to
Could
purchase
be-
the whole,
It could be parceled off, it's a little more tricky and expensive, but yeah, they could.
and again, that's not to say that something is available, so I'm just kind of throwing stuff out there.
And I know while we're looking and trying to think of ideas of places to put this place, like Diane had stated, the amount of community backup that we have is substantial. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Got about 20 different establishments, and that's without them even knowing that this is like an actual go for, that they are already on standby. Let us know what you need. Can we hold fundraisers for you? What can we put out that can help raise funds? So it's very community oriented, and at this point, dual community orientated, because there's other places from Westfield that are reaching out too now that think this is a wonderful idea and would like to help. So it's just,
I don't want Westfield people coming here.
I'm sorry, that means I already have to go.
Kara's like, you just said that on record. I was joking. Jeez.
I promise I'm a kind one.
Well, I think if we need to vote again, I think you had the backing from way back.
Mm,
I think it was just a matter of where is it gonna go and, and that kind of thing.
And yeah, as long as, oh,
We were looking for the understanding that you would agree it would become a park and rec property.
Well, it may, but since we're already dealing with a lot of issues, you need to make sure that you have your future planning is like, how's it gonna, where's stuff gonna come from?
gotcha.
The park gets built and then everybody's like, yay, and then in 10 years, when I'm not here and some other person's on the
Who's
board.
gonna take over?
And then next thing you know, the dog park, the waste baskets are falling off and,
The fence
there's.
starts
And
leaning.
trap rock needs to be put
Yeah,
in, like,
Understood.
not saying you have to have the foolproof plan, sorry.
As
but
exhibited from
How
other
is it
projects.
gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
How is that
Understanding of what the
long-term
future
maintenance
maintenance
gonna
is.
happen?
Yeah,
And that's not to just to say, the board is gonna do it, because then the problem is it becomes a money issue.
mhm,
Which everything is a money issue, but then, then we're looking like, where are we gonna get money to pay for this and pay for that and pay for that?
mhm.
So if there's a brainstorm or an idea, or that says, we may have a revolving account that may draw interest and we can donate such and such per year for
Mhm.
this kind of
The
maintenance,
maintenance of
park
dog park,
maintenance.
yep.
that'd be
Or
fine.
upgrades to
Yeah.
some of the playground toys and things like that,
Facilities, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that we don't think about that because we love the ideas and we think it's great and it does work but then having been on and just seeing things kind of happening over the years, it's kind of like, now we're like, oh my God, how are we gonna pay for it?
Yeah, and how do you keep up with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say, for sure at the next meeting, I can provide, if you'd like a 5-year or even a 10-year plan after it actually gets put in place. As far as the maintenance, I like to consider myself pretty young, so I hope, fingers crossed, I'll be here for a while. I'm a passionate dog lover. I don't plan on moving unless it's to your community, so, one would just assume that I will be readily available to spearhead a majority of this. But with that said, we did kind of just hit on something. There is Friends of the Rail Trail, so we could always start Friends of the Dog Park.
Right.
And that in itself could help us drastically with getting more people on board to just, to plan for the future, especially if we get some younger generations in and tell them, hey, this is what the goal is for the community. This is what the community is looking for. Do we have people that are really that dedicated and willing to step up to make sure that we don't let anybody down and that it keeps thriving and doesn't fall apart?
And I still
Sounds
like
good.
some of the things that you had brought to the table before in regards to, you were talking about fundraising and having T-shirts and having like, kind of like novelty stuff. I think that, I would think that you would be able to go forward with that and keep that as like that's your bank account.
Mhm.
Because when something comes up or when it comes time, you already got that money ready to go as far as like, what do you gotta do? What do we gotta pay for with your fundraising as well? But
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea that people are gonna buy into it and be like, okay, future dog park is coming. Here we go. And
mhm.
you're off and running. And I think your idea with the fundraising is a good idea.
And
Thank
is
you.
that how Friends of the Rail Trail operates?
Yeah,
They
pretty,
have their own
pretty much they
fundraising
do all their own fundraising and they help us out quite a bit on the trails, different projects over the years and
and they spend to do improvements and clean up.
yes, yeah,
Excellent. Okay.
things. 'Cause
And we coordinate with them.
Right, they might bring an idea, like they want a bench that says certain things on it, they just want to get our approval and, yeah,
Hmm, okay,
things like that.
I'll be on your subcommittee.
I would love that. It would be an honor.
If I'm reelected, I would not mind at all, but
With
that may be in a
anybody.
couple of weeks, so we'll see. But I would not mind.
You'll be back, Jeannie.
With
Well, I
that,
could be on your subcommittee if I'm not reelected. I just won't be on this side.
you could sit on any side you
Okay.
want. And with that said, to just add to that, I have the graphics department at Westfield Technical Academy working on any sign that the community would like to represent the dog park.
Okay, so-
I also spoke with Rick from 338, who's a wonderful individual.
That's awesome.
And he is willing to donate some prime space for us, in which case the graphics department put together another,
I want one of those.
8-ring banner.
That should be a
Weatherproof.
t-shirt.
Yeah, that's gonna be the new logo, so,
Go.
but
Start selling them, girl.
hey, that's all I needed was the approval. It's just,
Yeah.
the nervousness of doing something for the very first time and not want to
Start-
step on anybody's toes.
Start doing
We're a
it.
tough board. We got through.
I like it.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, of course you can. Absolutely.
What are you doing
But
with
we
it?
can't
Or she'll might want-
spend
She's gonna
money
love it.
on design or development until a CPA project is approved, correct?
Well,
So for instance, what if we had generous donors who funded the construction and wanted to then turn it over to the town for the CPA funds?
I think you should
Does that
talk to
work?
Mr. Wally about that stuff. No?
when you fill out the CPA application, there's a spot that asks for in-kind donations and stuff like that, right?
I don't remember.
No, I'm saying, so if somebody wanted to build it, could then so if it cost, I don't know, what's it gonna cost?
You wanna reimburse the person to build.
I mean, all
If it
depending on
costs-
where it's placed. I wouldn't say, right now you're looking at probably anywhere between 15 very low, I'd say extremely high, maybe 50,
For the
the construction of it.
fencing.
Yeah, that would be, which a lot of it can be funded through grants. I
So
mean,
plus the property, so say it's $100,000 and somebody wanted to build it out. Could we submit a CP application for the $100,000 to reimburse that person who fronted it?
Don't think you can do that.
No.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
can buy it from them.
Well,
If they buy the land and they develop it, the CPC could buy it.
buy it,
Yeah.
done, for that price,
Yeah, whatever they,
okay,
yeah.
Whatever price the two parties agree on.
okay.
Like I got $10 for one part.
Mhm.
Thought it was $9.99.
You really should
I thought it
ask,
was a
you
dollar.
really should
I did
ask
think
for
it was
more.
$1.
I really did, I thought it was a
No, I
dollar.
had 10.
Okay,
I thought it was a
I'm
dollar.
a negotiator.
$9.99.
Have you spent it?
And why, and so, and let me ask you this, why haven't you
Mhm.
filled out an application for CPC yet?
I think it was more so of my personal misunderstanding. I wasn't
Mhm.
sure on how to go about the next step without knowing that we
You have to have
actually
a
had a
plan.
location.
Location.
Right,
Yeah.
so, I mean, but you are, I mean, you're putting together a plan,
Mhm.
so yes, you do, and that is part of the application, but. That would be where you could get some significant funding, because
Yes,
there
we
are
plan to,
quite a
Once
few.
you have a plot of land.
we need a
Yeah.
plan,
Yeah,
we need a location.
that's the
Right.
one caveat at the moment, is just the
One-
location.
One greedy guy in town owns 800 acres. Can you believe that?
Where the heck?
So
is the
where could
donation
one
at?
purchase?
One time on
Everybody's giving away
subdivision.
land.
I mean,
for
or even just
$10.
1 acre,
Yeah.
we'll take an acre.
If you got $15, you might be able
I
to
have
get
10 in
some.
my
Give us a
pocket.
deal.
I have a
So-
piece I'm willing to give, but access could be a problem,
Okay,
but we'll talk about it.
okay.
Secret.
I'll ask you.
Right next to the rail trail.
Which would be.
That would be perfect.
That would be awesome.
Talk about numerous people from different communities coming and visiting South.
And I'd take $5 for that.
Well,
We need
sold.
some parking.
She's got 10 bucks.
I have
in her
$10 in my pocket. I'll even double
She'll
that
need
if you
5
like,
back.
Mr. Wally.
But access, the town owns land that accesses it, but it's treed.
Okay, so we'd have to get it cleared, and taken
We'll
care
look
of,
at the maps
Rail trail.
Okay.
during our subcommittee meeting.
like that.
That was one of my possibilities,
What's that?
that was one of my possibilities, and then also additional parking for the rail trail.
Oh,
We've
Two
got,
for
a-
one.
we've got a
Two for
grant
one.
we should find out next month about parking,
Right,
but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
let's pray we get that grant.
yeah, and I guess moving forward, I'll start rocketing out the fundraising, and if people are gonna scan, like with the, sign that graphics is working on for me right now. If they're gonna be at that motocross, track, and Rick already said, hey, you have the spot. If they're gonna be walking by and scanning it, it's gonna link them right to the GoFundMe, so whether it's 50 cents, $2,
Yeah.
you get 300 people in a summer that do that.
So you
That
are
adds
doing the
up quick.
GoFundMe?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
That's
keep the
what-
GoFundMe in place until
Yeah.
Diane and myself can manage to we're working actively at the moment to turn it into a nonprofit, so
Nice. Did you file your paperwork for the 501?
not yet,
Okay.
not yet. Couple of bylaws we have to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a process, but.
Yes, I'm learning that in the
Yeah,
process. It is a
learning,
process,
But
yes.
the whole time you're doing this that's where you can still do your fundraising though, to have your money. Because when something comes up or you need it, boom, you do have your money.
Mhm. Understand.
Do we need to vote? Or,
Vote
I
on
think
what?
we, I mean, I think we had already, yeah, I think we did already pretty much.
Yeah.
Just keep
Give
giving
you-
us updates.
Perfect, yeah, and I have no problem, even if you wanna do it every month, every other month until, I understand there's actual town meetings where you address the whole town, then we can do special meetings. I'm in no rush. I know the community has got a lot on their plate, so you basically just take your time and let me know when you guys are ready and I'll just continue to stack it and have everything on standby.
Well, and you now have a subcommittee,
Yes,
right?
We'll come back and let you know
John-
when we've
sure.
got
John
something
Genie.
significant.
yeah, next time we
That's
do
fine, yeah.
get something significant, we can
We're
absolutely.
gonna, what
let you
we're
know.
gonna do is we're gonna keep you on old business.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is what we have been doing,
Even
thinking,
though you're not that old.
yeah. But what we do is, so if you show up, we don't have to,
Introduce it,
violate
yeah,
any,
exactly.
open meeting laws. So we keep you on old business.
Perfect.
And then if you're here, then we can talk to you.
Okay,
Because then it's easier so that we're not violating any, rules.
understood.
And if you're not, then we're just gonna be like, okay, Sarah's not here, move on. And we
Kind of like
move
what we're
on.
gonna do with the Gaga pit.
Perhaps,
Yes, update.
well, actually, T-Mobile grant, yeah. So, yes,
Awesome.
Okay.
Did you have any other comments? No.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'll.
Thank you. Yeah.
Much
welcome. Thank you.
appreciated.
Can't
This is pretty
We
cool.
love the
So,
idea.
see the progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be plugging away definitely for the next couple months and then, Mr. Wally, I look forward to our subcommittee meeting.
537-5300. That's my phone.
Phone number.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I will definitely grab it from Diane for sure. Thank you very much. And if
Thank
anybody
you.
else would like to hold on to this, you're more than welcome to.
I took a
We've got-
picture of it,
Okay.
so I like it.
Yeah, it should be circling around quite a bit.
Good.
They're working on the banner, t-shirts are next, and
Yeah.
then just some small things here and there.
The vote,
Yes.
I love that
Yeah.
you're using the vote.
I give them a lot of credit. Some of these kids are very avid animal lovers
Yeah.
and they took this and they went crazy with it. We had about 13 different versions of this.
Nice.
So we narrowed it down to one and I thought that was pretty fitting considering.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it was pretty creative. So I give them a lot of credit on that.
Good.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for them. So.
I'm all about
They're
a
a great
t-shirt,
group,
so as soon as you get it.
Yeah,
She's into the merch.
perfect.
Yeah,
I will
the
hook you guys all
merchandise.
up with
I
merchandise. No
like it.
problem.
I like your design, so.
Thank
it's
you.
pretty cool. So,
Well, thank you all very much and I
Thank you.
hope you have a lovely night.
thank you, you
Thank
too.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right. All right, moving on to the Boy Scouts. Dave, you wanna
The Lady Gaga pit.
update with the
Yeah,
Gaga?
Mason's planning on starting with the scouts this Friday afternoon and doing it Saturday also.
Okay.
And it's be in the area where we took a look at, John. Sprinkler heads were marked out the other day, so
Mhm.
he shouldn't be covering any of those up.
So by the time we have the next meeting, it should be up, right?
It'll be up and
It
running,
should be.
Yeah.
Figure in 2 days, maybe 3.
Yeah, can't take
and I
that.
want someone to try it.
So
I volunteers tribute.
No, you're more athletic than
That's what
me.
I'm saying. I volunteers tribute.
Oh,
I'll do it.
you can do it then.
I'll try it out.
Dave, you'll try it?
Yeah.
All right,
Dave
So it'll be-
and Rick in the Gaga
You
pit.
left.
sounds good.
Okay,
We
you
should
up
all
there.
go.
We're gonna
Knock you out.
video that.
We should do it.
All
You
right,
can be the judge.
Only if
Put you in
Diane's
the
there
middle.
though.
Team building, right?
That's it.
team building, exactly.
Team building field trip.
All right, T-Mobile grant, anything, any updates? Nothing? For now? Okay,
I have
Go
a
ahead,
thought,
Mike.
I have a question on that, Jeannie, I did ask someone, and I didn't know the answer, so I'm assuming they're by the T-Mobile grant, I'm assuming it's through T-Mobile?
yeah, and
And
it's quarterly, I think. They give out, grants every few times a month. So it's not something that-
The question that was posed to me, was, have they had T-Mobile up to the site to take a look at it as a starting point?
as far as the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Um. Probably not, so maybe that would be something that we could do. I don't know where we'd have to do like corporate T-Mobile. Or
Yeah.
maybe I'll go on the website and look at the grant.
Yeah, I don't know who was applying. Was it the selectmen applying for the grant? Was my understanding. I wasn't at that meeting, so.
Yeah, it was, Jason Perone was, applying.
Okay. So I think that was the comment, made to me was, could we start with, or could we start with them to get them up there? To understand, what we're trying to do, put wireless there, let them take a look at the layout of the land, and they may be able to give suggestions which could start the process.
Okay. I'll go on that website to look out on the grant and see read some fine print and kind of see what's up with it
Okay.
and see if that's something that they do and go from there.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Under old business? Nope.
No, yeah, under old business.
Uh-oh,
I don't want to keep us here all night. but
Okay.
he's got new
But-
business.
I have a
What do you
couple
got?
questions on new business. Do we need to talk about the town beach at all? Or do we want to put that for next month?
So right now we're hiring for
Yeah.
lifeguards, we're accepting applications. We've got about 3 applications, some people returning, so we'll have to interview them. That's about it for now. We'll probably set up the beach and open the facilities beginning of June.
So we don't need to talk about, like. I know last year at this time, we were talking about potential pay raises and everything else. We're good with everything for that
Yes.
now?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think the salaries are pretty good. The gate person would be minimum wage, the lifeguards are $16.50, so that's $1.50 above minimum. Manager is 17, assistant manager $16.50, I think, so I
It
think
worked out
they're
great
good
last
for
year,
now,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
We're open for 9 weeks, so it's a short period of time, and we have all the funding for all that, so I think we're in good shape with that.
Okay. And then do we need to start talking about motocross or do we want to push that
When's
to the
that?
next?
Oh,
The
well,
29th.
when's your meeting? Did you already go to it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
When was it? Friday? Last Friday?
Saturday, wasn't it? I couldn't make it.
It was on a
I
Saturday?
don't know. I saw it and I was like, that's tomorrow. I can't make it.
It was a Friday,
Oh,
at
Friday, like 10
10:30.
AM. Yeah, that's what it was.
There
Yeah.
it was.
Friday, 10:30.
At
And
the
John,
police
So
station, I
what-
remember being
Oh.
there.
John went, yes.
So,
I had to redo all my vacations to make sure I'm here.
yeah.
Did you tell him we're charging $20 again?
Everybody is.
Everybody,
Yeah, but we
What a
Oh,
surprise.
Yeah.
which they should have,
Whoa.
started a trend.
which
Yeah.
they should have.
I was
Yeah,
the one
it
who
should've-
moved it to $10 too.
Yeah, it used to be 5, right?
Well,
So is there
paying for our
anything
dirt
we
and
need to
field.
do, or we're supposed to know, or anything like that?
Just to have people there.
What's the date?
June 29th.
Me and my grandkids will be there.
All right. Yeah, June 29th. Is it?
Yeah.
So can you put it on old business for our next meeting?
Yeah, motocross?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way. Dave can go over it.
Yeah, because that would be perfect, because that'll be early in June and we can make sure we can secure which of
Yeah.
us are gonna be there. Do we need some of the town beach people that were volunteers last year? Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. all that
I will
kind of stuff.
definitely reach out to them.
Yeah,
I'll go early for it. I've
29th.
got an umpire
So
at 2
that's
that
Saturday.
day, so I've got to leave by 1.
All right, so yeah, so what we're just do, if we can put it on old business and we'll just keep the reminder going.
okay, that's all I had. I just wanted to
Are you sure?
check my boxes.
Motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor to
Aye.
adjourn our meeting?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting
Aye.
adjourned at, thank you, Mike. 8:16 meeting.
Going to eat now, so.